بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. From بعد, my brothers and sisters, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu sent us Muslims with a job. That is why we exist. He said, كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر وتؤمنون بالله. Allah said, which means, you Muslims are the best people ever raised up for the benefit of mankind. You enjoin al-ma'ruf, all that is good, all that Islam has ordained, and you forbid al-munkar, all that is evil and all that Islam has forbidden. And you believe in Allah. How is this propagation to be done? By example, by practical demonstration, by walking the talk. Let us remember, the word Muslim is a word, is a verb. Islam is the noun. Muslim, the one who has submitted, the one who is a Muslim, is the one who practices Islam. Just like the words Musalli, one who prays, Sa'im, one who fasts, Haji, one who has done Hajj, Dhakir, one who is doing zikr and remembering Allah, are all verbs. They are not nouns. Just ask, who is a Musalli? It is someone who prays. Is it someone who knows about Salah but does not pray? No. To know about Salah, you do not even need to be a Muslim. You just need to get the information about Salah. And you can write a book on it. But if the one writing the book is not a Muslim and so does not pray, will his book do him any good when he meets Allah? Therefore, a Muslim is someone who has submitted to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and practices Islam. There is no such thing as a non-practicing Muslim. Just as there is no such thing as a non-praying Musalli or a non-fasting Sa'im. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about Ibrahim alayhi salam, إِذْ قَالَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ أَسْلِمْ قَالَ أَسْلَمْتُ لِرَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. When his Rabb said to him, submit, which is be a Muslim, he said, I have submitted myself as a Muslim to the Rabbul Alameen, to the Rabb of the creator, sustainer, maintainer, protector of everything that exists. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent his messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a demonstrator and ordered us to follow him in all aspects of our lives. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَةَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, indeed, in the messenger of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have a good example to follow for the one who hopes in the meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the last day and remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala a great deal. What are we supposed to follow Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in? In everything. At home, in the market, as an employee, as an employer, in war, in peace, as a teacher, a student, a parent, a sibling, a leader, follower, everything. Follow the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in excellence. And what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهُ وَيَغْفِرْ لَكُمْ ذُنُوبَكُمْ وَاللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, say, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to mankind, if you really love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then follow me, emulate me. Then what will happen? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love you and forgive your sins. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is oft forgiving and most merciful. Emulation is a sign of love. When the Muslim emulates Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah will love him. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves someone, then he causes the world to love that person. And that person will become popular and influential. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us about the one who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves. About the one who Allah loves, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reports from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves a slave, he calls Jibreel alayhi salam and he says, verily I love this person and you should love him. Then Jibreel alayhi salam loves him and makes an announcement in the heavens saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves this person and you should also love him. Thus the dwellers of the heavens love this person and he is honored on the earth. In another narration, Rasulullah said, when Allah is angry with a person, with a slave, He calls Jibreel salam and he says, I dislike this person. So you must also dislike him. Then Jibreel salam dislikes this person and makes an announcement in the heavens saying, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes this person and you should also dislike him, and they dislike him and this person is hated on the earth. And this is a Sahih Hadith in Bukhari and Muslim. We spend so much time and effort and energy and money and we get stressed out trying to become influential. Yet, do we pay attention to the formula of success that the one who controls success gave us? Please Allah and Allah will get the world to please you. Our job is to become role models to the world. How do you become a role model? By standing out. How do you stand out? By becoming extraordinary. Do what everyone else does and you will be lost. Do what nobody does and you will stand out. Differentiate. Differentiation creates brand. Brand inspires loyalty. Loyalty enables influence. Influence without brand, brand without brand, you are a grain of rice in a sack. Set extraordinary goals. Why extraordinary? Because it is the nature of extraordinary goals to inspire extraordinary effort. Good enough never is. If something is worth doing, it is worth doing well. As you work towards a great goal, you will become restless and irritated and impatient and maybe inclined to take shortcuts and cut corners, all for the excellent reason you convince yourself that you want to see the project up and running as soon as possible. But in this urgency, there will be a tendency to accept compromises. I want to warn you of the biggest danger to success, the C word, compromise. To compromise is to die a death without honor. Those who have the courage to work for a great goal understand that possible and impossible are terms that define your own standpoint, your own locus, how you see yourself. They point to who you are, not to the goal at all. Soaring at 30,000 feet is possible for an eagle, on a thermal, or for a man with a flying machine. If it is not possible or impossible by itself, all it needs is for you to ask, how can I do it? Not, can it be done? Excellence is an expression of self-respect. So is mediocrity. We strive for excellence not because someone is watching or because we are playing to the gallery, but because excellence is about us. It is about how we see ourselves, what we think of ourselves, how we choose to define ourselves. Excellence is a mark of self-respect. We define ourselves and the world accepts that definition and treats us accordingly. It is up to us to choose how we want to define ourselves. Excellence requires sustained heroic effort, often in the face of great discouragement. Only those who revel in the effort can excel. The adrenaline drives them. They are goal-focused but take inspiration from the difficulty of reaching that goal. For them, the journey is the destination because the excitement is only in the chase and ends with a catch. Mount Everest is a worthy goal to strive for because its dimensions are measured in height. The same distance on level ground wouldn't be worth talking about. It is the difficulty which adds value to the goal. If you think success is difficult, try failure. To accept mediocrity is to accept failure at the start. Mediocrity ensures that your failure is permanent. That drug is called compromise. I know that there are more mediocre people in the world than those who achieve excellence. But ask yourself who you would rather be, who you would like to emulate. Who do you choose as your role model? That is why Tipu Sultan Shaheed, he said, one day in the life of a tiger is worth more than 100 years in the life of a jackal. Ask which life you would like to live, for in the end, both die, the tiger and the jackal. Compromise is to attitude what cancer is to the body. The body doesn't fight cancer because it accepts it, because it doesn't recognize the threat. It accepts cancer cells until they kill it. Only those who hate mediocrity can excel, not dislike, not be irritated by it, nothing mild. Only those who pathologically hate mediocrity, who cannot stomach it at any cost, those who are repelled by it and they find it disgusting and abhorrent and hateful, and they do anything to get out of it. Only such people can pursue excellence passionately. Compromise, like cancer, destroys from within, but unlike cancer, it is infectious. Excellence takes effort. Few make it. Failure is painful. Nobody likes it. Mediocrity is a narcotic which makes destruction seem acceptable. So people settle for less than what they can be. They get distracted by others and make excuses for their mediocre efforts as if that can change reality. They imagine that if they can find others who agree with them, their mediocrity will be acceptable. It will be to other mediocre people. But to those focused on excellence, who look not at others but at their own potential and beyond it, mediocrity is despicable, no matter what disguise it comes in. To tell you the truth, the mediocre ones also recognize this in the dead of the night when they are alone with themselves, that their efforts don't even begin to approach the boundaries of what could have been if only they had not compromised. Failure is not the enemy of excellence. Mediocrity is. Failure is painful and drives effort. Nobody willingly fails or remains in failure, but mediocrity is anesthetized failure. It is fatal because the victim does nothing to counter it because he can't feel the pain. I remind myself about a basic principle that I have always followed in my life, that it's better to fail trying to achieve an extraordinary goal than to settle for a compromise. Why extraordinary? Because good enough never is. When you say good enough, you are looking at mediocrity. You are looking at cancer. Do to it what you would do to cancer or die. The important thing for us to remember is never to compromise. No matter how difficult it seems, remember, when weighing in a balance, it is only the last few grains which tip the balance. Until then, you don't see any difference or any change in the pans. There are two fundamental laws. The first one is the balance will not tip until the last few grains fall into the pan. And the second law is the last few grains will always tip the balance. Both laws are equally true. Remember that if we compromise for anything less than what we dreamed of, then in the evening of our days, we will be forced to look back on our lives and say, if only I had not sold my dreams so cheaply. Social change happens when a small group of dedicated people who believe in their system live it and practice it with confidence and differentiate on that basis. They live their way assertively, not aggressively, but never compromise or change their system to suit the majority culture. The British colonized the world, but they never wore turbans and shimaks and bishts and igals and mishlas and sherwanis, or any of the gorgeous and beautiful clothing of Asia, Middle East, or Africa. So the world started wearing pants and ties and trousers, pants and ties and hats. The greatest damage to a cause is done by those who, perhaps in a well-meaning way, soften stances regarding principles. What then happens? When that happens, the clarity of differentiation is lost and the message loses significance. For a leader, the most critical thing is to differentiate from the rest based on his message. If the leader compromises his message for the sake of popularity or material gain or followership or anything else, the uniqueness of the message will be lost and it will lose its value as a clear standard on which to model all actions. This is naturally not easy to do as there are a lot of societal and other pressures to conform to existing norms and values and customs. To stand out as different, especially when this means to go directly against the existing system, is not easy. But it is an essential criterion that distinguishes the leader. For people to follow the leader, his identity, the goal that he is leading towards, and what the followers will gain because of following him must be clear, unambiguous, and inspiring. A flag is a symbol, but only when it is flying high, not when it is drying on a clothesline. Islam teaches us to stand out, not to blend in. We came to teach. We didn't come to follow. We came to set the standard, not to conform to other people's standards. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين بالقسط شهداء لله ولو على أنفسكم أو الوالدين والأقربين إن يكن غنيا أو فقيرا فالله أولى بهما فلا تتبعوا الهوى أن تعدلوا وإن تلووا أو تعرضوا فإن الله كان بما تعملون خبيرا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, O you who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witnesses to Allah, even though it be against yourselves or your parents or your kin, be he rich or poor. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a better protector to both than you. So follow not the lusts of your heart, lest you may avoid justice. And if you distort your witness or refuse to give it, verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ever well acquainted with what you do. All goodness begins with justice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala set a standard of justice which to this day is acknowledged as the highest in the history of mankind. That is our standard. But like anything else, it is effective only if we live by it. It is critical for the leader not to be seduced with the promise of followership and never to change, dilute, or modify the message to suit anyone in the desire to get converts. The message distinguishes the leader. If he or she compromises the message, then he has lost everything. This is the biggest argument in favor of this differentiation and against assimilation and losing one's identity that I can place before you. Someone who does not have the confidence to differentiate and is content with being one sheep in a flock is completely unfit to be a leader. Being a leader means to take hard decisions and getting used to being lonely. The tiger walks alone. Sheep have lots of company. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu to enable us to live our lives in a way that is a credit to ourselves and to what we stand for, a credit to us as Muslims in this, and be a matter of khair and barakah for us in this dunya wal akhirah. Wa sallallahu ala nabil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahim.